We're off mute.
We're off mute
Oh,
now?
baby. How we doing?
Oh, look at the camera, though. That's a
Who cares?
disgrace.
The disgrace is on.
It's.
You want to
I'm.
adjust that a little bit? Let's move it towards Dylan. Yeah. How we doing? We're live. We're here to talk
There's a
about
delay.
something
Hold on.
quite charged. What? Yeah, it's good. We're good.
A little bit more towards me.
Oh, this is excellent content, guys.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
There we go.
You
Perfect.
happy with that?
Yes.
Okay. Now
I
that
would
you're
be
satisfied-
happier if it was out of view of the camera.
If you were out of view of the
Do
camera?
we need this in view of the camera?
No, we don't. Do you want it in the view of the camera?
No.
How we doing?
Doing good.
Yeah.
How about you?
Doing great now that you got to put away the soapbox.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
want to.
I'm great too, guys.
Kyle's off camera, currently editing. We got him in
Ooh.
slave mode.
It's like one of those fancy podcasts where
He's our
off
producer.
Screen. Yeah, he's off screen and he just chimes
Yeah.
in sometimes.
Jamie, pull that up.
Switch to camera 3, please.
Hey, Kyle, you want to fact check me there?
Yeah, I looked it up, and you were definitely wrong.
Ah,
You should
well,
not have said that.
shoot.
So we're here to talk about a topic:
Yes.
Hogwarts Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Reviews are coming in, and so far they're actually really positive.
Yeah, I've
I
been
think
seeing really good reviews.
A lot of people are really hyped about the game. A lot of people are really enjoying playing the game. I believe it hit like 1.2 million concurrent viewers on Twitch, which is insane. That's like more than like news networks get at the end of it on a good day. Like the top newscasts, on television. So that's crazy to me. People are really enjoying it, but there's been a lot of kickback from the community. Dylan, take us through it.
Yeah, so I don't know if it originated there, but it's found its home in there's a subreddit called R Gaming Circle Jerk. Now, the funny thing is this subreddit is supposed to be like making fun of the concept of gaming becoming a circle jerk, and in essence it became the thing that it was supposed to be making fun of.
Well, you don't
So-
think people are just doing it sarcastically?
Oh, I think it started out that way.
You
And
don't
then
think
I
it's
think
anymore?
no, I think they're banning people
Oh,
there
shoot.
who disagree with them. All their posts there are this insane okay, not insane, but this rhetoric of like if you buy the game, you're a piece of human garbage and you should die because you're horrible for supporting J.K. Rowling because of her views, and just all this nonsense about how because she's a horrible person, and even though she's not one of the developers of the game, but no, she gets royalties, and that's why you should not buy the game because she gets money by you buying this game, even though she has
Baffling.
mountains of money anyways.
I don't understand that viewpoint at all. I feel like she created a cultural phenomenon,
Oh yeah.
right? And like with anything, you have to separate the art from the artist. Like, okay, you disagree with this, and maybe it flames you like really hard to listen to her viewpoints or whatever. I've never even stumbled across her viewpoints. I don't even know what they are. I don't care. That's my take on it. Like, you're allowed to have your own opinion.
Yeah.
Just because you buy content, the books back in 2005 or whatever, or you go and you watch a movie, does not mean that you're subscribed to every thought and idea that any of these people created to bring that film to you, that they've ever had. No. You don't, just because you watch the content or just because you play these games or you read the books or you go and does not mean that you subscribe to every single idea. And another point is like, that idea isn't, bringing any sort of physical harm to anybody. So
Yeah.
why is it why are we taking such a polarized stance on this?
I would even argue that at this point, Harry Potter is more WB's thing than hers.
Definitely.
Like, cause so the movie, I mean, at least me, I didn't read the books. I only watched the movies. So in essence, to me, she created the characters, but Christopher Columbus, the director of the first movie, he made the movie. He directed it. He made it good. We've had plenty of bad book movies. He made it like a classic, and so at that point, is it even hers anymore? I guess
It
it is,
doesn't make
but
sense. Like,
it's,
and I'm of the opinion. So like, I love like obviously this person's done like some. I don't actually even really know the full story, but I know that he did some stuff that caused some havoc on his career, and supposedly it's justified. But like I go back and I still to this day will watch like Kevin Spacey films, and I think he's one of our generation's greatest actors. Does he? Did he do some crazy shit? I don't really know the full story. Yeah, but again, separate the artist from the art. Like that was created at a time where we didn't know. Okay, and you can go and still enjoy the movie, and then just don't support future projects or whatever. Like the effect has already been had. I mean, how long do people have to repent for certain things? It just doesn't make sense. You have to have a
I mean, to be clear though, in Kevin Spacey's case, he's one of the few people that I think should have been canceled.
yes,
What was his story though?
He like tried to have sex with a minor
pedophile.
But he never touched them, right?
Okay, I think he did.
I didn't. I thought he never did. I thought he just made advances.
Okay, I don't know. Either way, if you're making advances,
It's still bad.
yeah.
But like, should
That's
you
not- yeah.
like? He's made some incredible films over history. Should you just not discredit all of those? That's my take.
It's hard to say. I mean, a prime example I think of
Because
that
there's other
also-
people that put those films.
Well,
together.
so yeah, that's not just him, but I think another example is Bill Cosby.
Mhm.
You know, like this
That
guy
one's
had
bad.
such a legacy. That's an example of, but like the things he did, that's an
Horrible.
example of cancel culture. I think I'm not supporting cancel culture, but I think sometimes it's effective in like what they in Bill Cosby's
that
a justified
egregious-
situation.
Yeah, for that egregious act, I think that absolutely is accurate. But yeah, Bill Cosby is prolific.
But yeah, so and here's the difference though. These cases you guys are talking about, this is an actual crime that these people committed. J.K. Rowling is just sharing her opinion on a
Right.
political matter.
Huge difference, and that's a
Huge
very
difference.
important distinction.
Good point.
Yeah, so it's like people are trying to cancel her for her opinion versus an actual crime that those two committed. And I mean like Kanye, it's just his opinion that he's going, a
Be
little
president.
insane and all his nonsense. But I still enjoy his music. His earlier music especially, I was a big fan of it, and so I still listen to it, but it's his opinion. He hasn't done anything illegal. It's his right as a human being to have his own thoughts and ideas. And it's just, to me, it's just silly to try and cancel somebody over different ideas.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a really good distinction over an opinion on something versus the examples I gave, which were poor because they really were different cases,
Yeah.
right? The example of someone just having like a difference of opinion of you.
That's like if
That
you said
brings
you
no
like
physical
oranges
harm.
and I say I like
Yeah.
apples, and you're like, you should go
Go
dig a hole and jump
and
in
never
it and-
show your face
because
again.
you like apples. How
That's
dare
just
you?
insane to me.
Like, listen to that. That's what's happening.
Yeah. I've always just been like, I've always just taken the stance of like, you have to like, because you buy these products, whether you consume Hogwarts content or Harry Potter content or whatever, like, you don't have to identify with every single thing that's ever come across that person's mind.
And
Who cares what they think?
you could argue that those creative licenses, right, Harry Potter, gave kids the courage to do, to create their own stories that may not have no effect based on J.K. Rowling's thoughts or feelings, but because they read those stories, they felt courageous enough and they felt inspired enough to do whatever they wanted to do themselves. And so it's not like the work of Hogwarts is also reflective of her opinions.
Yeah.
It's completely separate.
I just, and let's talk about some of the stuff that's been going on
Yeah.
then too. Then, obviously there's been this outrage. I've seen Hogwarts Legacy trending for like 3 days on Twitter, and I've also seen some articles and I've seen the clips. What was the name of the channel? It was
Girlfriend
Girlfriend
Reviews?
Reviews.
Mhm.
So
They're a great
how
channel.
does that work? So he plays a game and she watches him play it.
So
and
that's how
she
it started
kinda-
out. Is she would review it as like how good of a game is it for your girlfriend? Like
Yeah.
based on watching him play, how much fun did I have watching him play the game? And then they grew super popular, and she started playing, and then now they stream together.
Yeah,
and
now they
she,
do like a co-stream, right?
So now they do it together, but they hopped on stream.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing Hogwarts Legacy, and then a bunch of angry redditors and people who hate J.K. Rowling came on and were just like saying horrible, disgusting stuff, and it ended up making her cry.
Yeah. So you know what's funny is I don't even think like that that's the bad thing about this movement or whatever you want to call it. I don't actually think they're even represented by these bullies that are jumping on Twitch. I think the Twitch these people in chat are actually just pricks that would jump at any opportunity to just be a total jackass troll. And so I think that there's a large part of that. I don't think they identify as like some warrior, that's out there trying to, and so that's why I think, it sucks because I don't think anybody that really wants to promote those values, like wants to see that where you're bringing someone down. I really don't believe that, but it is crazy to me that that's where it's at. And it's gone so far. Like there's definitely people that believe it. And I mean, you can find people that believe anything, but you see other things on there. Like, there's a website that tracks, you could type in your favorite, like content creator, like from Twitch or whatever, and it will search if they've ever played the game. It'll do like a search and see if they had ever streamed that game on Twitch. And if they have, then you can, to
avoid
stay away.
them. Wow.
Like we're building tools to like silence these, these different people, like, so you can just be outraged by it and cancel them off your list. It just doesn't make sense to me. This game is not promoting like negative, like the game itself does not have like, it's not promoting
the creative license itself. Harry Potter had nothing to do with that.
It's just a game, about a wizarding world, and you get to explore, and it's probably got great stories and values and stuff. But then here we are, having this silly ass conversation. It's mind blowing to me.
And
over an opinion.
Yep. All because of an opinion that they don't agree with.
You know what's funny is I honestly believe this. I'd love to get your take on this. I can go through, not in a retail scenario, but I could go through my whole life, like go to the store and, whatever. And 99% of my people interaction is like super positive. Like human interaction. People are pleasant to deal with. They're friendly. They smile at you when you walk by or whatever. Or they fuck off and they're to themselves. They're not invasive in your life in any way. You're at the grocery store. People stand and wait in line. They go and, there's an order to things, right? People are genuinely courteous. Like overwhelmingly, like 99% of the time, you have a positive experience. You go online, those numbers are so crazy. It's like this artificial world that gets created when you go onto like these social platforms and people can, post with, having the time to think about what they want to say and really create a pointed argument and stuff and create all this sort of cancerous narrative out there.
And no physical consequences, of being kicked out or beat up or
that Mike Tyson quote. I might have said it on a podcast before where he's like, social media has made you all way too comfortable talking shit without getting punched in the face.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely. I truly like it's a very strange world, and I always have to remind myself that like the internet does not exist. Like it's not a place you can go to. It's an abstraction of like human interaction. And so you get like non-human things that happen on there. Because if you put the phone down and just went out into the world, you're going to find a pretty overwhelmingly positive experience. And it's shown by like, at least in this country, but it's shown by just the results of the world. Like people are genuinely courteous. I walked my dog today. Like cars would stop for you when you need to cross the road. People walk out of the way. Like they say hello to you, they wave, whatever. Like it's consistently reinforced through life that it's humans are genuinely good. And then you go to this world and like you can just get so sucked into that darkness so quickly, and you can feed on that and just fester and become more and more part of the problem.
I would agree, but I would say the number is lower than 90%.
For what? In life?
Yeah, positive people. Because working
Man,
in the service
I will
industry,
fight. Well, that's why I said remove the service industry, because then there's still like there's power. There's like a weird power thing. But let's go there. Let's talk about your service industry.
yeah, service industry.
Because I worked in the service industry for 8 years of my career.
Yeah, it taught me that, you know, I have very little faith in humanity because of how
clarify that,
entitled and stubborn people can be on their what they believe is right for them.
So I worked as a waiter.
And okay, go ahead.
I worked as a waiter, so I saw like how people are with food, and I worked as I was in the financial industry as well in multiple roles.
Those are two things you don't mess with.
Well, you know what's funny? So in the food industry, like the entitlement, I understand because they're paying for a service, right? Like you're paying a tip and you're paying for the food, like at a premium to have an experience. And I worked at a very nice restaurant. I also worked at like a cafe type thing, but I worked at a nice restaurant. And so like that entitlement comes with the product that they're buying. I understand that. I observed that. And I understood it. I understood my role in that. So that never bothered me. There was definitely people who took it way too far. But overwhelmingly so, my experience was positive. And even in the financial industry, like overwhelmingly so, people were polite, friendly. They asked questions, and of course, their entitlement because you engage in a service contract, so you are providing something for them. So there is that entitlement. I think a more than often it is justified, and I think just like the internet, the negative things hurt. So you will always remember that. But if you averaged it out, if you saw 15 customers in a day, I bet you only one of them would be maybe a little sour, where you're like, that sucked.
I would put it closer to like 75%.
Oh man, I think you're so wrong in that, but explain.
In all the years I've been in the service industry, that's the general consensus of
1 out of every 4.
Yeah. I feel like is and it I might get hate for this, but I think it comes with the age. Personally, I've very rarely have seen younger people be entitled and pricks. It's all older people who
I think it got much worse, and
let's get spicy,
and
boys.
it's more in
Let's
line
get
with what you're saying, Dylan. It's more in line with what you're saying since COVID happened.
Oh yes,
since
definitely.
2020.
Me and Kyle were
the
frontline
service
workers.
industry. Yeah, the service industry became a nightmare.
So I didn't work I wasn't on the front line. I still was, I guess, technically in the service industry, but it was online. And so that's obviously very different because you can only yell at your computer screen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not public facing. We had clients we had deep, great relationships with. So, it's a little different of a relationship.
And
from that.
that's the thing. I think the social culture is always shifting different, especially since, first the invention of social media, and then COVID kind of did something else too. Because before COVID, the last job I worked at, I wasn't miserable, but after COVID, I lost
your patience.
All patience, lost all hope for that.
So what happened? Like, so you're saying the older group, like they changed, or
they changed it. Well, and it got a lot more political.
Yeah,
and it became
visibly political.
Political, and it became about they didn't see you as humans. They didn't I was an employee for a company that was making me enforce rules, and because I told them to do this, I was, they hated me and they just yelled at me, and it was like, you realize I'm a kid. Yeah. Like I'm not, I'm an adult, but like I was somebody's child, and I'm a human being.
But you're entitled for thinking that.
Yes, I am, I guess.
Here's the thing. So like, did you have a point on this subject before we jump? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think the difference is before 2020, I've never been spit on.
Mm-hmm. You've been spit on?
I've been spit on. I've been like, people have like touched me. I've had people scream at my workers and call them dumbasses. I've had people like throw things at my face. Like none of that, like I had bad stories, but none of that happened before 2020. And then all of a sudden, like a different animal
Yeah.
released when that happened. I've actually been spit on.
That's nutty.
Yeah.
But so I guess playing devil's advocate, because I have definitely been on the receiving end of. I mean, when I lost my hair, I heard the shit that some people said, that like some of the regular customers that I had was absolutely appalling. Because I lost it over basically I had a full head of hair 1 week, and then the next week I didn't, and obviously obvious reactions from that from some people. People said horrible shit. So I've definitely had like some just disgusting human beings in my life that have acted that way. But to your point with isolating out of the older generations, I think 2020, the last few years really have just brought along the last decade actually in terms of like technological change and how much the lands. I mean, like 15 years ago, people weren't using phones. Now people on average use them 4, 5, 6 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge cultural landscape change, right? And so, like, for every degree of change that occurs, there's an ensuing level of chaos. And I think younger people are just naturally good at adapting to change, right? And they just accept for what it is. The older people get a little crotchety, irritated. That's not how I did it back in my day, whatever it was. And they fight it a little bit more. And so maybe that's why it's a little more present. But my pushback, I think, on that is like, yeah, like you may have been spit on, you may have been like treated like all that, but it's definitely in the minority. And I don't think it's 75, 25. Like, what's your experience? 75, 25, or is it more that 90, 90, 10, 95, 10, 95, 5?
I think so. I'm more in line with I definitely have more good experiences than bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I think
true.
it's still more
That's
positive.
true.
Yeah.
If I help 10 people, I might have 2 bad experiences. But the things that the bad experiences like way outweigh how good the good experiences are.
Absolutely.
For me, a good experience is someone that's not mad at me at the end of the interaction.
Yeah.
Just a normal human interaction, which is actually just a 5 out of 10 on the scale. That's a good experience for me. So like the people that do things that are terrible, like really outweigh in the long run the things that are good.
And I think that's super true on the internet, right? Where like people have thousands of like, a woman will post a photo. You look beautiful. Oh my God. And then there'll be that one person like, did you gain 5 pounds? Or some crazy shit. That's all they'll remember. They'll have 1,000 good, but they'll remember that one.
How it is you can have someone say, oh, you look nice. To put it into context, the good experience is, oh, you look nice. And the bad experience is, you're so ugly, you should kill yourself.
Yes.
And I mean, that's how people are in real life in the service industry.
Well, and it'd be different if the good experience was like, you are the best server I've ever had. I'm going to throw in a $10 tip because, you really helped brighten my day, and I'm giving you a really positive compliment. That's really rare. Like, that's like one in...
Never happens.
One in probably 20, 30.
So you were never a waiter, though, right?
I worked
in the food industry, though. Okay. Mm-hmm. But you weren't in a position, though, that was traditionally tipped, right? I mean...
We got tips.
Well, like through the transaction, right? Like, because people could
your salary didn't depend on the tip.
No, it didn't.
Like a waiter is, right? Where it's just expected 20%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Victory on here says the bad experiences always seem to stand out over the good experiences. Absolutely, they always do. But like for me, the proof is in the pudding. So as a waiter in a nice restaurant, if I got 20%, then I knew I did a good job. Or I felt like they were appreciated. I didn't need the verbal reinforcement. I also have a lot thicker skin than most people. There's like a lot of there is the service industry is not for everybody. There's people that get chewed up, spit out, and can't handle it. For me, the thing that wore me down the most about the service was faking being super, super positive. Because I had this personality that people were like, if I wasn't this bubbly person, it was like, well, what's wrong with you? And it's like, can I just be chill for one day? Like, can I just be me?
Mm-hmm.
I had to like put on this act, and that wore on me over 5 years of doing it. Because I was very good at that job, like very good. I was employee of the month at a very, very large corporation, and was like I'm very proud of that to this day. I was 18. I was the youngest to ever get it. And I achieved it in the shorter amount of time that anyone had ever gotten it. I got a parking spot, and it was a massive resort that I was working at, and I felt rewarded, and I crushed it, and I put in a lot of extra hours, and I did a very good job. But that role is not for everybody, because there are sensitive people, and I feel like the more sensitive you are, if you have that, like, someone doesn't like their food, they want to send it back, that dwells on you from like a psyche perspective of like you did something wrong. And I never internalized it that. I definitely had people call my ass out for certain things that I wasn't doing right, but I always found like justification for that. So I think but here's the thing too, though. I feel, and I've never had hate on the internet pointed at me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've posted on forums and stuff, and people have gotten a little silly, but it doesn't really weigh on me. I honestly think I could reason better with an in-person reaction with someone criticizing me for something. Like, hey, like there's a specific example. I told them how we prepared our crab. They didn't believe me. My manager lied to them. That was a bullshit story. And that to make them feel like they, were happy. And then they just basically hated me because they thought I lied to them. And it was a whole thing. But like I could see their criticism, because my manager was the one that fucking royally messed up there. It wasn't necessarily, so I understood their conflict with me. I could identify, be like, well, those people sucked, one, but two, like, I understand the situation. Online, you lose all of that context, right? You just see the words. You don't know how they said it. You don't know why they said it, what they were thinking, or how they interpreted, what their just how they read your comment. So I feel like it can be a lot more like a knife, online than in reality. I always feel like I can really understand, I feel like I have like a compassion towards people, especially when it comes to criticism, when they're trying to like even now when I go in for like a review with my boss or something like that, and they have like constructive feedback. I love that shit. I want to hear how I can get better. I want to hear that like good feedback. Like, hey, you suck at this, get better, and you're gonna be a rock star. Great, let's do it. What's the plan of attack? How do we do that? And I just feel like if they were to just type up a review and be like, hey, you suck at this, I'd be like, fuck, man. Like, dude, that's and online you don't even have that relationship with the person, so you don't even know what's coming. I mean, what do you feel like it's the same? Do you understand that? Or
yeah, like I think it loses a human element when it's online. I rarely go on social media besides Reddit, and on there I just lurk. I just see posts, and for me it's just for entertainment. I don't engage in the social aspect. I've engaged a few times, and I got in a discussion once, and it's just funny how fast people can take what you say as you being insulting. So like I made sure everything I said at the end, I'd put like, I'm not like, I don't hate you. This is like my opinion.
Yep.
I'm having a great discussion with you. Like, this is fun. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not, I hate you so much. You're so fucking wrong.
Yeah.
No, I made sure in the end of like every sentence I typed out, I was like, this is great conversation. I agree with your points, but this is what I think about them. And it's funny. Like, if I didn't put that, I could totally see the conversation going towards, like a lot more aggressive and a lot more hate filled.
Spoiled up immediately, right? And it's so interesting because like I use platforms differently. I don't know if you do as well, but I use like welcome to the party here, Kyle. You joining us? There we go. Smooth criminal. I use Reddit, and the content for me on Reddit is the comments. I spend most of my time reading the comments.
I mean, unless it's a meme image.
I try not to read comments.
I spend even on Reddit,
especially on Reddit.
Well, so that's what I'm getting. So like when I go to Twitter, I never read the comments. I don't even really understand how they're layered, because I don't know if there's like a voting system or whatever. But Because usually then there's like the top comment, and then there's like all the replies to it, and that's all you. I don't understand how it really works, but I never read the comments on Twitter, so I'm just reading the posts. But on Reddit, I spend all the content for me is the interaction with the user base. And it's so funny when you get like a weird, like it'll post a question or something, or be like a weird take on something. Top comment might be one take, and then it's got thousands of upvotes, you know? And then you go down to like the second or third comment, top comment. And that one is the complete opposite take, and it has thousands of votes too. And it's like, man, the people can, you know, different brain it's a diverse group of people out there in this world, man. Not everyone, like, we think a lot alike in a lot of ways. We still disagree. Like, imagine someone who has has never been exposed to the same kind of culture you have. They grew up in a different area and different value system stuff. Their brain chemistry is going to interact with content completely differently. You're engaging with a lot of different people.
I'm really passive on the internet.
Me too.
I try not to. I've tried not to voice opinions unless I like it. If I don't like it, I just move on. I always consider how what I'm going to say has an effect on said person because of all these horror stories you read of people that can't handle the negativity. And
have you ever trolled anyone, like even in like an online game?
No, the only people I ever troll are my friends.
Yeah,
I never actually like troll people I don't know, or like I don't do that. Like especially, I'm not gonna just bully some kid online.
Yeah, that's exactly my take. Like I've played a lot of like MMOs in my life, and I've never scammed anybody. I've never like I've gotten mad at people for like playing bad mechanics or like saying they knew something and they didn't. But I've never been like go out of my way to be a jackass to somebody. Like I feel like I've played it like in a very like good headspace. But there's some people that just they log online and they're just like, well, man, I'm anonymous. I can be my true hateful self. I don't understand that at all.
I don't. That's why I say like a lot of times I don't have faith in humanity because some of the crazy people you see.
But it's not real. That's the thing.
It's not.
It's
well,
not real.
I would say I'm more an optimist than a pessimist, but
Okay,
just
good.
like looking at like, you know, the sample sizes of some ideas or it is very easy to get in the mindset of like, man, we're doomed.
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, I mean, it comes back to when we're talking about our experiences with people. Yes, it is true that majority of people you meet in a day is a good experience, but unless it's over the top, overwhelmingly positively good, it's never going to outweigh the negatives because people go way harder negative than they do positive.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how often maybe not you guys specifically, but how impulsive people get when they're upset versus how impulsive they are when they're happy. When they're happy, they don't really go out of their way to show it, but when they're upset, usually you go out of your way to show it.
Yeah. That is so true. And I try to like, I don't know. I always try to, because I have worked in the service industry. I always try to, you know, like exit my conversations with like a, you know, I appreciate you, you know, thank you so much. And even that though, like I think back, I got a lot of those half-assed comments, you know, like, you know, oh, thanks, man, you know, shake their hand or whatever. And it doesn't register the same as a negativity thing.
No.
It can throw your week off in some cases, especially if you hate your job.
Well, the thing is, when people are upset, they get personal. They don't never think about things. They never think about things on the whole.
They take it as a personal affront to them.
Well, like if you're mad at somebody, and this is just random, not you know, this isn't a scenario that I've been a part of, but like if you the worker at Best Buy who works the counter for returns.
Oh, this sounds personal.
Yeah, I don't work at Best Buy, but like it's just someone that handles the returned items. They always scream at the person that's just taking
like they
the
made
return,
the product,
as if they made the product, as if that person doesn't give a fuck. They're just there to pay their bills and get by. They are not the person that you should be screaming at.
Like, and I blame businesses for putting that like notion of the customer's always right. And
it's not true.
It's not
I hate
true.
that
I
saying.
hate that phrase because like these are like I don't know you. I'm providing I'm a representative of this business and I'm providing you a service. But there's also just a genuine social contract between you and I that we're
Yeah.
going to be decent and we're going to work at like a good pace. You start blowing up in my face, you've terminated the interaction.
The thing
man.
to understand about customer service is the person that you're screaming at, the person that you're upset at, they want to do everything in their power to get you to be happy
To
so you
react.
can leave.
Yeah.
They want to. They want to help you. They might be like, screw this person because they're treating me like
Mhm.
crap after a certain point. But if you work in customer service, the goal is it's never, I'm going to make this person angry. It's always, I want them to be as happy as they can so they just leave.
Yeah. So I have to, so I can stop dealing with them.
Yeah. And, I think if you get into the customer service industry, you have to learn how to separate yourself from every
Mhm.
situation.
Yeah.
And once you can do that, you're fine.
Yeah.
And some people can't, and those types of people shouldn't work in customer service. I'm not saying customer service is all bad. It's all terrible.
So
it's
what do you,
not,
so
but-
he says 75 25. What do you think your 80-20? You said 10 interactions, 2 are bad. What do you think? 80-20,
I think
90-20?
that's fair.
90-10.
I'll have a 90-10 probably. But it's just like the 10% is real bad. It's not just like it makes
Yeah.
it feel like a lot more than 10%.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe
It's a weighted. It's
Well,
a weighted
yeah,
but I
percent.
think there's so, but this is what's interesting. So we all we actually all worked in the same place and we
Yeah.
all did relatively the same thing and all of our experiences are different. So I said, 99-1 was my interaction between, but that's my personality.
Mhm.
80-20 here is 75. So like depending on your personality, you're going to have a better or worse time for the same, relatively speaking, experience. That's
Yeah.
crazy to me. So you like,
But I never had any bad experiences, any bad customer service experiences when I worked in the restaurant industry. I did when I worked in fast food, but granted, I didn't do it very long. But when I was a busser, I don't think I ever got,
shit on.
shit on once. But also because I was working graveyard and then right across from a nightclub, and they were all just wasted. So maybe that's part of it too.
If you were there long enough, you probably have some crazy stories. But it is interesting to see, like, there is the personal bias to even be offended, like
Mhm.
different levels of how you get offended. But it's interesting to hear all of our experiences because those bad ones, man, they fucking hurt, and you remember them years ago later.
Well, yeah, and I think I'd further add on to your whole thing about like people who are more sensitive or have like thick skin versus thin skin. I think it goes even further beyond that. Somebody could have thick skin but be argumentative, or
Yeah.
somebody could be, like there's different aspects. Like maybe they have really thin skin, but they don't take people's crap. Like they don't care about people's opinions. So I think it goes even further beyond that with how people handle negative interactions. Because I've been a manager and I've seen tons of different how people handle difficult interactions, and it's fascinating. I wish I could be like a psychologist and study that stuff because it does fascinate me
I've
how different
seen-
people approach different situations.
I've worked with people, and I've had people work under me that they could literally be getting screamed at, spit on, all of that, and they would be like, meh. And they're like, just another day on the job, and just take it. And I've seen people that like come up to and be like, how you doing today? The customer doesn't hear. They're like, I said, how are you doing today? And like I've seen both ends of the spectrum. Like, whoa, chill. That
Yeah.
person did not deserve that.
And then there's the one where a coworker makes a funny comment and then you start crying.
Yeah.
we
It's all over the place. It really is all over the place. And I just feel like, it is interesting though that like even though we could sit here and talk, share our war stories of all the
Mhm.
worst stuff. Oh, on balance, we all agree that it's more positive
Yeah.
than not,
definitely.
and it's not that case on the internet. And if you
I think
sit there
minority opinions are very vocal though too.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing too, right? Like, let's go back to the Hogwarts Legacy thing. Everyone is talking about how this one streamer in particular cried or whatever,
Mhm.
and we just talked about the difference in thickness of skin and stuff like that. But now that is like echoing to like volumes, and everybody's talking about that. And I for one, and I don't know if this is how my algorithms are picked up, but I for one can't necessarily find those like content of those people saying like boycott this game, you should never play this game, you're a terrible person if you play this game. I don't see that. You say you do come across that. I always see the noise from that. Oh, people are saying that this is happening, and I'm like, okay, what's louder? Is it the thing that's happening, or are we reverberating that to like echoing that so high up?
Well, see, I used to be subscribed to our gaming circle jerk because of its original intention. I thought it was funny because they were making fun of how a game like the mindset of gamers, well, anything, but especially in games, it can become a circle jerk of something. It can become a hive mind.
Yeah.
And so they would make fun of it, and I found that funny. And then this stuff started happening. I unsubscribed, but the Reddit algorithm is still like, well, you were subscribed. You want to see more?
You want to see more.
And
you
then
want to hate more.
Yeah, and then it sees that I slow down when I pass a post or something.
I know. When I see something I don't like, I try and get out of it so quick. I'm like, no, don't make this part of my algorithm.
Isn't that weird? Like, we never used to talk about algorithms, or like, they're not doing that. Now it's like, I got to optimize my algorithm here.
It's 100%. They will warp your worldview.
One of the most fascinating and things that I recently did that I enjoyed, like, even though it's scary, was I use TikTok, but I started fairly recently. And I watched it build my algorithm, and it was so fascinating to watch it try and figure me out, because I went in trying to observe what it would do, and it's fascinating. You like one thing, all of a sudden it shows you like
so
10 more, and then say if you scrolled back to it, that counts too. Or if you like watch it for a little bit longer, or if you rewind it, or you interact any way in it, it thinks you want more.
Dude, Twitter, right around the time Elon bought Twitter, like 2 weeks after that, something broke on my main Twitter, and I showed my wife because it was so hilarious. Because if you looked at like the stuff I like, had nothing to do with what was being suggested to me. Every single post was like e-girls wearing like bikinis and stuff. And it was.
Are you sure?
It was every.
That sounds like you.
Single post, and it was like, we think you're into animation topics, and it was all just like, and it wasn't animation. It was like a girl in a bikini, and it was like, but she was wearing like cat ears.
Cosplay.
So it was like,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Well, no, it wasn't even cosplay. It was like they held a wand or something, or like they had a poster in the background that was like an anime or something, and it was just a girl in a bikini. It was actually, it literally corrupted, and I had to go in and say, not interested in this subject, don't like this post. It took me, I'm not even exaggerating, multiple hours on multiple days to work my way out of this hole that I don't even understand how I got into it. I really don't. It was literally just showed
That's
up one
what
day.
you told your wife.
Yeah, that's what I tell myself too.
I don't know.
Like,
I
really it was every single one, and it was all suggested topics that I've never like searched, and it was very weird. But like then you go to like the stuff that you're actually liked, which is like secondary on Twitter. You have to go to like, there's the For You, and then there's like the stuff that you're actually following, and you're like, oh, okay, here we're back to reality. But this suggested stuff was
to reality.
crazy, man.
Oh, there goes gravity.
I was in the depths of Twitter, dude. It was
I
crazy
I stopped watching like videos on Facebook
because
of like you watch one video and you hang on to it for a little bit longer, and then like it's nothing but that over and over and over. And I like variety in what I watch, and YouTube is the only platform that I feel like, yes, it gears videos towards what it thinks you like, but it doesn't feel nearly as pointed as other social medias, where it's like you can't escape it.
Yeah, like let's say like for me, that's a really good point. I do feel like their algorithm is more of a story versus like, hey, you like that? We're gonna give you 15 things exactly like that.
And no
You
matter
like,
what you do, you can't get out of it.
yeah, like if I'm interested, like let's say I look up like a Guild Wars 2 video or something like that, and I watch like the newest season live content or whatever, and I watch that, then the next suggested video might be like top MMOs of 2023.
Yeah.
And then you watch that and it's like, hey, coming MMO. And it's like, it takes you through this like progressive journey that you're like, oh yeah, I do want to keep watching this versus you like that meme? Here's that same audio from that meme 15 times over and over and over. Like, no, come on.
Here's 140 videos that all play out the exact same way. You have to go through all of them before you get anything remotely different.
Yeah.
It's just the worst.
Dylan, after this spicy episode, where can people find us?
Well, we're gonna be banned from every.
We had some hot takes on this one. This is
If we're still around, you can find us. I'm kidding. Of course, we'll be around. We're on any
Cancel culture's part is a mindset. Sigma mindset.
Sigma.
Gets you out
if
of
we
it.
were any bigger than we are, that would be clipped in everywhere, and we would be canceled because
Yeah.
you said that.
Please cancel me. Try.
I think justified canceling is okay, but
yes.
it's
Like we
rare
talked
that you
about.
see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can find us on any podcast listening platform such as Spotify, YouTube Music. No, I don't even think we're on YouTube Music.
For
We're
our
on-
podcast.
Yeah.
My-
No.
Yeah, we
YouTube Music.
That's what
doesn't
I've been
have-
doing on the side. I've been laying down some fat beats.
Wow.
Do dot dippity.
But yeah, check out our podcast. We
Yeah.
upload there weekly. We stream here weekly about 7 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesdays.
We also are on
And,
Instagram, Twitter.
we're also getting into the shorts game.
Yes, we're on TikTok too.
That's about all she
Wow.
wrote.
Although we got
You
more
sound like
traction.
an 85-year-old man. I'm on the TikTok.
We are on the TikTok.
TikToks.
I'm on the TikTok.
I
for
know
you.
Kesha.
For your kids.
It's like a 2-level deep joke.
Yeah.
All
I've heard
right.
of key $, huh?
The pound sign. You mean? Yeah.
No,
I know,
Kesha.
I know. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye,
ya.
guys.